It was Long He herself. It has nothing to do with the Pyrolite Regiment. Lu Yin frowned and disappeared. Destroy. Not long after, the spacecraft continued towards the Sirius sect. There were many places in the Neoverse that Lu Yin wanted to visit. He wanted to go to the Sirius sect to learn the Sirius art. He also wanted to visit the Mavis clan to see how much money they had and whether they could share it with him. He also wanted to go to the Seven Courts to see if there were any records of the Progenitor realm. He also wanted to go to the home of the gods to see if he could break through the Aeon Evolution True Scripture. However, he did not have the time at the moment as he had too many things to do. He did not desire the Aeon Evolution True Scripture as much as he had in the past. After all, it had too many restrictions and could not be used in many places. If he could use it in the Astral Tree realm, then he would have gone to the home of the gods long ago. Long he had cultivated the Aeon Evolution True Scripture to the Knower realm, and that strange method made him envious. After passing through the northern region, the Sirius sect appeared in front of everyone. Luotian covered her mouth and stared in shock. Seeing the Sirius sect for the first time was indeed shocking. Countless stars seemed to be held up by a palm, and that was the Sirius sect. It could be summed up in one sentence, but it was impossible to describe its stunning beauty. Mr. Lu Yi sighed in admiration. It's similar to the Wang family of the four cardinal scales, but the Wang family used a broken palm to hold up the entire family. Here, the stars revolve, but they seem to be held up by an invisible hand. Sister Feihua nodded. I thought that the wasteland would be a cultivation desert, but it seems that it's not that bad. Mr. Lu Yi said, not only is it not bad, but it even exceeds our expectations. You haven't fought with that person from before. He was able to create something out of nothing and even weaken my attacks. It's very mysterious, and not even the Astral Tree realm has seen such a technique before. He then looked at Lu Yin. Is the symbol progenitor a progenitor from the wasteland? Lu Yin replied, something like that. An unrecognized progenitor created an unrecognized civilization. Mr. Lu Yi sighed. He created a civilization with a clear conscience. I really want to take a look at the true scripture of Ian Flow. Lu Yin smiled. That person only cultivated the true scripture of Ian Flow to the spiritual realm. I've seen a genius who was an enlighter who cultivated the true scripture of Ian Flow to the knowing realm. He was able to negate the effects of certain things, which means that he could even ignore attacks that exceeded what he could withstand. He could truly ignore them. Mr. Lu Ye's eyes lit up. Where is this person? I really want to meet him. I killed him, Lu Yin said. Mr. Lu Yi choked. Feihua was furious. Then why are you still talking about it? Just because I killed him doesn't mean that he's not powerful, Lu Yin said. Welcome aboard. Stay tuned and subscribe to Han Li's Wuxia Adventures for more thrilling content. Chapter 1585. Lu Yin stared blankly at the palanquin as it passed, but at the same time, he heaved a sigh of relief. They hadn't discovered him. That damn monkey, how dare you do such a thing? Just you wait, I'll beat you to death sooner or later. That had scared him to death and he broke out in a cold sweat. Since he had fused with the Corpse King's body, he might as well take a look at the seven sky gods. He was most curious about Bai Wuxian, who was rumored to possess a list of traitors to humanity, immortality. Lu Yin controlled the Corpse King's body to rush towards the Dark Tower. Soon, the Corpse King approached the tower and suddenly Lu Yin's vision blurred. Not good, I'm about to leave the fusion. He was helpless as he still hadn't seen Bai Wuxian. Suddenly, Lu Yin stared at a distant dark tower. A figure slowly walked in from outside, and Lu Yin felt as if he had been struck by lightning. It was Undying Yushan. Lu Yin's consciousness returned, and he gasped for breath as his eyes flashed. He had never dreamed that he would actually see Undying Yushan in the Eternal Kingdom. He wasn't dead, he really wasn't dead, and he didn't look like a corpse king either. He was a living person, Undying Yushan. Lu Yin had always guessed that Undying Yushan might not be dead, but he didn't know his whereabouts or why he was pretending to be dead. The closest guess was that he was hiding in order to cultivate the Undying Manual. When Lu Ying Zishan had been controlled, Lu Yin had suspected that the person controlling her was Undying Yushan, but he hadn't been able to find anything. As time passed, Lu Yin had gradually forgotten. He hadn't expected to see Undying Yushan in the Eternal Kingdom. Why had he appeared in the Eternal Kingdom? Also, hadn't the Eternal Kingdom been destroyed by Mystery Progenitor? Why did it still exist? Or was it another Eternal Kingdom? Lu Yin was confused by what he had seen after fusing with the Corpse King, and he desperately wanted to know the truth. Unfortunately, the truth was too difficult to uncover. Perhaps he could find out if he found the monkey. Lu Yin's eyes lit up. The monkey had been forcefully extracted by the witchling god, and that fellow had been living so comfortably in the eternal kingdom. Perhaps he would know something. Lu Yin couldn't accept Undying Yushan, as the man had treated him well in the past. On the other side, Undying Yushan was unaware that Lu Yin had discovered his tracks. I can easily control the Great Eastern Alliance and even influence the Seven Courts. You should give me more of your life poison, he said as he stood in the dark tower. We're just cooperating. We have no obligation to provide you with resources. Lu Yin is back and I can control that kid. I don't believe that he has no value to you. Are you sure you can control him? Do you know that he's from the Lu clan? The invincible Lu clan. Undying Yushan smiled. In the beginning, I only wanted to cultivate the undying scripture, and controlling him was just a side benefit. Who would have thought that a child who pretended to be a member of the Zishan family would reach this level? Let him grow until he reaches the level that you all hope for. I will continue to hide and control him when the time is right. He will not be able to escape. I hope so. Don't underestimate the Lu clan. He rolled the die again, and after 2 rolls he rolled possession and entered the time-stop space. Another 300 days passed, and when Lu Yin left the time-stop space, his serious art had reached the 4th level. The 3,600 stars brought about the transformation of serious art. Lu Yin stayed in the Star Hall for a few more days, which added up to about half a month. He couldn't stay any longer. After leaving Qinxing, Lu Yin went to the ordinary planet where Elder Gong was to meet him. Her expression turned serious. An emissary? Yumu heaved a sigh of relief when he saw the shattered meteorite behind him. He had survived. In front of him, Elder he clasped his hands behind his back and led him in a certain direction. Elder he was rather curious about Yumu. He knew about the grudge between this person and Lu Yin, but he had never thought that Lu Yin would ask him to save this person. There had to be some other relationship between the two. However, Elder he did not care about this. He had actively tried to save Yumu so that Lu Yin would owe him a favor and use it to find the Sea King. They were absolutely certain that the Sea King was not dead, but they did not know where he was. They also did not have the ability to save him, so they could only rely on Lu Yin. Lu Yin was already on his way to the outer verse. He was very interested in the astral source pill that Yumu had mentioned, as well as the aura concealing stone from Aegis. Right after Lu Yin left, the One family's people arrived at Fennel Flow Zone. When they learned that Lu Yin was heading to the outer verse, they had no choice but to chase after him. Almost half a year had passed since Lu Yin had returned to the 5th mainland from the Cosmic Tree Realm. On this day in the distant west, some people from the technocracy arrived at the Genesis Court. The Genesis Court was the core of the technocracy, and it was located in the largest main city. It could also be said that the main city was the Genesis Court. During the tournament of the strongest, Yun, Domi, and Yar Patel had represented the technocracy in the Astral Combat Academy. Wang Yi had also represented the Genesis Court during the Supreme Tournament. There were many research teams in the Genesis Court, and Hui Kong often appeared here. However, Hui Kong was not at the Genesis Court at this moment. Instead, he was on a barren planet far away. A giant mechanical monster had descended and was smashed to pieces by Hui Kong. "Damn Baldy, I'll tear you apart sooner or later," the mechanical monster said in a crisp voice. It seemed to be very angry. Hui Kong grinned. "Go home and drink milk, kid. You're so old that your teeth are falling out. Grandpa Hui is still so young." Shameless Baldy. With a bang, the mechanical monster was smashed to pieces. Hui Kong looked up and sighed. If only Brother Lu was here. With so many materials, it would be enough for him to play with. A day later, Hui Kong was roasting a giant beast that he had caught from somewhere when his expression suddenly changed. He stood up and looked into the distance with a solemn expression that had never been seen before. Not long after, an old man tore through the void and walked out. He looked at Hui Kong calmly. Someone from the abandoned lands? Hui Kong narrowed his eyes. Someone from that planet. I'm Wang Shang from the 4 Cardinal Scales Wang family. I heard that you're from the abandoned lands. Do you recognize this person? The old man raised his hand and drew an image in the void. Hui Kong's eyes narrowed when he saw the image that Wang Shang had drawn. Brother Lu? Seems like you recognize him. Take me to him, the old man said in an unquestionable tone. He was one of the few experts in the Wang family who had undergone 6 origin tribulations, and he had always been on the northern battlefield. He had only returned to the family by chance and had been given a mission by half of Wang Xi's team. He did not know much about the abandoned lands, but he did not need to. It was just a cultivation desert. Although there were a few experts, they were all ants in his eyes. He had lived on the northern battlefield for 1,000 years and did not take anyone from the abandoned lands seriously. He was even confident that he could fight even half of Wang Shang's team. Hui Kong's expression was grave. He could sense how terrifying this old man was. Yu Mu hurriedly said, "Alliance Master Lu, that's the Astral Source pill. Once you get your hands on it, it will be of great use to your Great Eastern Alliance. Is it not worth as much as my conditions? Right, I'll add one more condition. Give me that universal armor that you've been wearing all this time." Lu Yin stared at Yu Mu. "You're quite interesting. Since you already know that Shamrock Enterprises has the Astral Source pill, then I have a way to find out. I'm only asking you to save me some trouble. Not only are you my enemy, but you're also two-faced. You even want to take away my defensive items. Do you really think that I won't dare to kill you?" Yu Mu snorted. "I'm afraid of death, but I know that if I don't meet the conditions, I'll still die. Shamrock Enterprises has too many hidden seats, and they might even have some by your side. If I don't have the ability to protect myself, then I'll just die anyway. I'll send you to the astral wilderness. That's my bottom line. If you don't want to, then you can die," Lu Yin said. Yu Mu gritted his teeth. He was sure that Lu Yin really wanted the Astral Source pill, or else he would not have asked Wang Hai to help him. Wang Tian's men were protecting Yu Mu, so they would not immediately rush over. However, there was one thing that Yu Mu was right about. Since Lu Yin knew about the Astral Source pill, then he would definitely be able to find out where it was. Yu Mu did not dare take the risk as he was afraid that Lu Yin would really fight to the death. If he did not cherish his life, then he would not have asked Lu Yin for help, nor would he have turned to the Autumn Frost family. He cherished his life more than anyone else. "I want to join the Great Eastern Alliance," Yu Mu said in a low voice, changing his conditions. Lu Yin's eyes narrowed and he thought about it. All right. The Great Eastern Alliance welcomed anyone, but as the alliance leader, Lu Yin had the authority to arrange for personnel to be transferred. Yu Mu could only serve on the front lines and in the most dangerous places, and his identity had to be changed. As for what would happen to him, no one could say for sure. The Astral Source pill is a research project that Shamrock Enterprises set up a long time ago. I don't know exactly how many years they've been working on it, but I only had the right to know after I became the president of the Outerverse. At that time, the Astral Source pill was enough to break through the Astral Source universe, but it could not allow people to travel through it. Now, the Astral Source pill can allow Enlighters to instantly travel through the Astral Source universe. Traveling through the Astral Source universe is just one of the uses of the Astral Source pill. There are other uses for it as well. Shamrock Enterprises not only did they set up a research team to manufacture the Astral Source pill, but they also set up a research team to study its uses. The most valuable use of the pill is to attract the attention of the Astral Source universe. Lu Yin was curious and he vaguely thought of something. Continue. Yu Mu continued, when envoys fight, they not only have to face their enemies, but they also have to face the Astral Source universe. Once they're noticed by the Astral Source universe, the Astral Source in their body can be easily extracted. Without Astral Source, it's not a big deal, but once it's extracted, it'll have a huge impact on the battle. Using multiple Astral Source pills at the same time can achieve this effect. Lu Yin understood, as this was also why envoys needed strange items. These strange items could conceal their Astral Source and prevent them from being noticed by the Astral Source universe. They were beneficial in both battle and absorbing Astral Source. However, the Astral Source pill was equivalent to poison to envoys. It was a poison that was specially made for envoys. Welcome aboard. Stay tuned and subscribe to Han Li's Wuxia Adventures for more thrilling content. Chapter 1596. Lu Yin did not care about Yu'er. Someone with a power level of 400,000 was not important to him. How can I get a Star Source pill? Yu Mu fell silent. He was being hunted down by Shamrock Enterprises, so it was impossible for him to get one. Lu Yin looked at Yu Mu. I believe that you have people in the headquarters who are familiar with you. Find a way to get a Star Source pill. As long as you can get one for me, I can guarantee that your future will be bright. At the very least, you won't have to worry about your life. Yu Mu's eyes burned with eagerness, but he concealed it. There's no other way. The company's management is very strict, and I've already been removed from the list. My acquaintances in the headquarters will hunt me down if they see me. Lu Yin's eyes flashed. I can give you the universal armor that can block envoys. I'll do my best, Yu Mu replied. He was very interested in Lu Yin's universal armor, as everyone knew that Lu Yin's defensive items were extremely powerful. If he could get one, he would not have to worry about being hunted down. He decided that if he could get his hands on the universal armor, he would sleep with it on. Lu Yin did not believe that Yu Mu could get a Star Source pill from Shamrock Enterprises headquarters. He believed that Yu Mu had hidden it away and would hand it over to him at the appropriate time. The Star Source pill was Yu Mu's life-saving treasure, and threats were useless. Yu Mu would not admit to anything, and Lu Yin could not force him to do so. He could only wait for Yu Mu to hand it over, which would not take long. One day later, Lu Yin appeared on Aegis Planet. The Black-Masked Assassin, Star Fox, and the rest were all present. The current Aegis was much weaker than it had been at its peak. The Enlighter Realm Assassin who looked like a child was dead, and Lord Egret as well as Poison Master, Magistrate, Unparalleled Beauty, Feng Zi, Black Tiger, and the others who had once been on the Outerverse Assassin rankings. Although there were many low-level assassins, the loss of these assassins had caused Aegis business to decline. They could not send the Black-Masked Assassin to assassinate a hunter. The Sixth Mainland has already taken over the Western Weaves and it's not that far from here. They can come over at any time. Why are you still here? Lu Yin asked. He stood on the planet's highest peak and looked down. Behind him were the Black-Masked Assassin and Star Fox. Star Fox answered, "We're used to this place." So you're saying that you plan to join the Sixth Mainland? Lu Yin. The Black-Masked Assassin replied, "No." Does that mean you want to die? Lu Yin laughed. Star Fox and the Black-Masked Assassin looked at each other, speechless. Is there anything you can't let go of here? Lu Yin asked. Alliance leader Lu, Star Fox said helplessly. I'm a member of the highest management of Aegis, and I have the right to know everything about Aegis. Think carefully before you speak. Star Fox muttered to himself for a moment. There's a spatial rift within this planet, and there are ruins of an ancient sect within it. Lu Yin's eyes widened, and he looked at Star Fox with a cold glint in his eyes. The Black-Masked Assassin stood in front of Star Fox. We were the ones who discovered the ruins. There's no need for us to tell you everything, Alliance Master Lu. Lu Yin's eyes narrowed. Bring me there. The planet was desolate. From where the Black-Masked Assassin and the others were sleeping, one could see a protruding dagger. It looked ordinary, but on the dagger, there were two words carved in ancient characters. Qizong. That's the word Qizong, said Star Fox. With that, he touched the dagger with one hand and then vanished. Lu Yin's eyes lit up. The spatial rift was similar to the ancient centipede. We don't have the qualifications to trade with those envoys, and any one of them could easily destroy us. Alliance Master Lu should be clear about this, Star Fox said, making up an excuse. Lu Yin nodded. I understand. Then you can trade with me. I won't destroy you and I definitely won't steal from you. Besides, Lu Yin smiled. We're on the same side. Star Fox's lips twitched and his heart sank. On the same side? These words made it sound like Lu Yin wasn't planning on using money to buy the aura-concealing stone. Star Fox and the Black-Masked Assassin glanced at each other bitterly. The problem they had been most worried about had come. They had guessed that Lu Yin would one day discover that the aura-concealing stone was a wondrous item, but they hadn't expected it to be so soon. How old was he? We found 59 aura-concealing stones from the Oddity sect. How many do you want? Star Fox asked. Lu Yin blinked. You want them too? Star Fox was furious. We found them. Lu Yin waved a hand. What I mean is that it's a waste for you to keep them. Sell them all to me. State your conditions. Alliance Master Lu, the aura-concealing stone is the foundation of Aegis. Without it, we can't hide our auras, the Black-Masked Assassin said. Lu Yin thought about it. I'll leave 2 for you. Star Fox gritted his teeth. Alliance Master Lu, you're even more than we expected. He wanted to say something but he couldn't bring himself to say it. This person was no longer someone Aegis could afford to offend. Lu Yin looked around. Actually, compared to the aura-concealing stone, you should be more concerned about your own lives. Also, Aegis's name is Aegis. If you stay here, you'll be devoured by the Sixth Mainland sooner or later. Go to the Innerverse? There's no space there. Forget about the Cosmic Sea or the Neoverse. Only the Great Eastern Alliance can protect you. I'm protecting you, so it's only right that you give me some compensation, right? Besides, I won't take it for free. Just tell me if you need anything. Right, I have something good. Luin took out the giant's right arm and tossed it to Star Fox. "Try it on." Star Fox's eyes lit up as he had seen the giant's right arm before. Luin had used it during his conflict with Yumu, and it could resist powerhouses with a power level of 300,000 to 400,000. After putting on the arm, Star Fox immediately felt that something was amiss. He looked at Luin in shock. "Alliance Master Lu, this is?" Luin smiled. "It's enough to display a power level of 500,000. Consider it the payment for the aura concealing stone. Is it worth it? In addition, the Great Eastern Alliance will provide Aegis with protection. Regardless of whether it's in the Outerverse or the Innerverse, Aegis will always be a member of the Great Eastern Alliance." Star Fox's eyes lit up as he stroked the giant's right arm. A power level close to 500,000 meant that it was an envoy. With it, Aegis's power would be close to an envoy's. He looked at the black-masked assassin, who was also staring at the giant's right arm. This item was not very tempting to him as he was an assassin, and it was too eye-catching. "Not enough. Then what about this?" Luin took out a super flash tear bomb. "This can instantly blind an enlighter, and it's also effective against powerhouses with power levels of 300,000. This should be your favorite, right? I can give you 5 of these." Star Fox's eyes lit up, and he accepted the super flash tear bomb. They did not doubt Lu Yin's words. Even though Luin was overbearing, he was very honest and he would not lie to them about something like this. "If this isn't enough," Luin said. Star Fox and the black-masked assassin could not help but look at him. "This means that you want to betray the 5th mainland and join the 6th mainland. If that's the case, then I'm sorry." Lu Yin's tone was icy as he stared at the two. Star Fox hurriedly spoke up. Welcome aboard. Stay tuned and subscribe to Han Li's Wuxia Adventures for more thrilling content. Chapter 1605. He continued rolling the die, but this time it was a 5, which was useless. 2, which was useless. Again. The 4th time, Luin rolled a 4 and he continued cultivating Sirius. Another half a year passed. Luin rested for another 10 days before continuing to roll the die. To outsiders, Luin had been in seclusion for close to 2 months, but to cultivators 2 months was nothing. However, to Wen Yao and Wen Sansi it was a long time and they had waited for 2 months. Luin watched as the die slowly stopped rolling. It was a 6 again. His luck was too good this time and he had actually rolled a 6 3 times. This time, Luin did not merge into a person's body. Instead, he merged into a monster, a 100-meter-tall corpse king. He looked down at the numerous corpse kings beneath him and then looked up at the waterfall in the distance. This was the Starfall Sea outside of the horizontal black hole. Luin fused with a 100-meter-tall corpse king that was specialized in destroying sourcebox arrays. This corpse king had a power level of over 500,000, and it slowly made its way up the waterfall. Of course, its destination was the 6th mainland. Another corpse king. Luin felt helpless as there were too many Eternals. The 5th mainland, the 6th mainland, and even the Cosmic Tree realm were all included. If he merged into an emissary's body, there was a high chance that he would end up with a corpse king. Right, this was the Starfall Sea. Luin looked towards the south. If he merged with a corpse king that was close to the Greyweed continent, wouldn't that mean that he could control the corpse king to go to Zhongshan Dojo and come into contact with that fist mark? There was hope, but that did not mean that he could comprehend the rest of the emptiness palm. He himself had not comprehended it before, but there was still hope. Luin grew excited and withdrew from the fusion. This giant corpse king was too far away from the Greyweed continent. Even if he used up all of his star essence, he might not be able to enter the Greyweed continent, let alone the Zhongshan Dojo and the fist mark. It all depended on luck. After withdrawing from the fusion, Luin still had 3 more chances to roll the die. He did not want to waste them, so he continued. Once, twice, and on his 3rd attempt he rolled a 4 and entered the time-stop space to cultivate Sirius. Half a year had passed in the time-stop space, but only 1 second had passed in the outside world. Luin had used his die to cultivate the Sirius art for more than 2 years, and he had increased the number of stars in his hand to 5,700. This was 8 times more than when he had first returned to the 5th mainland, which meant that the power of his Sirius palm strike had increased by quite a bit, and he had also learned Sirius swordsmanship. Sirius swordsmanship used stars to form swords, and he wondered if it could be used in conjunction with the 13 swords. While Luin was in seclusion, Ku Wei accompanied Leng Yin to the Innerverse Giant Financial Group's headquarters. Cold Beauty, where's the giant? Over the past 2 days, you've been showing me all kinds of services. Brother Wei isn't interested in any of these. I just want to see giants, Ku Wei said. He believed that he had come with a mission. Leng Yan's eyes flashed. The giant's temper isn't too good. Please excuse him. Ku Wei did not care. It's fine. We'll talk about it when we meet. Leng Yan nodded and took Ku Wei to one of the planets under the control of the Giant Financial Group. The Giant Financial Group's headquarters was surrounded by dozens of planets, and one of them was inhabited by giants who were extremely intelligent and could develop technology. Lu Yefei looked curiously at the giants around him. There were all sorts of people in the astral tree domain, and there were giants as well. However, this was the first time they had seen such a strange giant. Weren't giants supposed to eat raw meat and drink blood? They lived in all sorts of strange ways, but these giants were no different from ordinary people. Qing Kong and the others could not tell how powerful Lu Yefei was, so they assumed that he was a bodyguard. Lu Yin and Qing Kong chatted as they headed towards the planet with the giants. That place was forbidden to the Giant Financial Group, and only Qing Kong could lead the way. Leng Yin and the others could only wait in place. Lu Yefei did not follow them, as this bit of distance made no difference to them. When Lu Yin saw the 10,000-meter tall giant, he also saw Ku Wei. It was too big, but Lu Yin was not surprised. He had seen ancient giants that were far more than 10,000 tall through Progenitor Chen's memories in his tomb. Progenitor Chen's giant clone had been able to casually grab a planet and play with it like a marble.